What if I told you that one of the best talents at this World Cup was completely unknown just a month ago? He wasn't hyped, he wasn't trending, just a name buried in the Bundesliga stat sheets. A 21-year-old who was named UEFA Revelation of the season, and still nobody outside German football really knew, apart if you followed this channel and you watched my video about wonder kids who were going to explode at this World Cup. Then the World Cup started and Switzerland scored 3.6 goals per game with him on the pitch, and without him 0.33. That's not just a start, that's a team losing its identity the moment he's not out there on the pitch. Then an injury cut his tournament short, but it didn't matter because every big European club already knew his name. So the question became, who actually gets him? And Villa has reportedly won the race. But here's the thing about Aston Villa. While other clubs chase headlines, Aston Villa under Unai Emery have been quietly building something different. They've had the same manager year after year, playing with a clear identity and especially with the habit of finding players before even the rest of the league notices them. This signing isn't luck, it's a clear proof of how they operate. And by the end of the video, you'll understand why nobody should be sleeping on what Aston Villa just did. Before talking about the transfer in itself, let's talk about the behind of the scenes, because I think it's really interesting. Because Newcastle had agreed a deal with Freiburg, they thought they had him, but Manzambi said no, he chose Aston Villa instead, which is really a logical choice because Aston Villa can provide Champions League football where Newcastle can't just offer it. And Villa also had a need of a midfielder after the knee injury, the serious knee injury of Amadou Onana at this World Cup. We wish him, of course, a speedy recovery. And also they have reportedly accepted a fee for Yuri Tielemans. So Yuri Tielemans will leave. Amadou Onana is injured for the season, so there is a big gap to fill in midfield. And if you've been following this channel, I really hope you're not surprised by his explosion, because I had told you that after this World Cup he'll join a top European team, and that's just what happened. But for the people who arrived lately, for the people who didn't follow that video, I'll present him, because you all probably must known him at this World Cup, because what he just did was just out of this world. But think about that for a second. If Switzerland had got past Argentina, Manzambi could have been playing a semi-final in his first ever World Cup campaign at just 20 years old. That's not bad for an explosion here, but instead his World Cup ended against Argentina, and I think they faced maybe the team that might go all the way. Maybe Argentina are gonna go back to back, but I honestly think my prediction is that football will come home. I really think England will do it after 60 years, which is the perfect excuse for today's sponsor. So this episode is sponsored by Kalshi, the largest prediction market in the United States. Here's what makes Kalshi different. You're not playing against a house. Kalshi is a peer-to-peer trading. You buy a yes or a no contract in whether something will happen, and you're trading against other users. Think of it like buying or selling a stock. The line isn't set by some algorithm working against you. It moves based on where the money goes. Public opinion sets the price. So right now, England to win the World Cup is trading at 22%, meaning that a $30 trade pays out 134 with a correct prediction. And as that probability shifts, you can buy in or buy out of your position at any time to lock in a profit or cut a loss. Kalshi is a CFTC approved, federally regulated, which is why it's available across all the country, including California and Texas. So download the Kalshi app and use the code ISH to get $10 when you trade $10. For those who didn't know him before this World Cup or who haven't followed him at this World Cup, Johan Manzambi is a 20-year-old who plays at Freiburg and is also Swiss international. Of course, he could have played for DRC or even Angola because that's the origin of his parents. This season, he dragged Freiburg to a Europa League final where he was really their best player. He was even named UEFA Europa League Revelation of the season. He's played almost every Bundesliga game. Also, he's played most games also in the Europa League. He's had 47 appearances this season, with it going with 7 goals and 6 assists, so 13 goal contribution from midfield, which is really not bad. So which proves that his profile is really complete. But if I want to put him in a box, I would call him a box-to-box midfielder, because he's really physical, he's direct, he's energetic, and I think it's what Emery system actually demands. But as I always say, he's more than a midfielder, because this season he's played also as a winger. You've seen him play as a number 10 for Switzerland. He's really got that eye for the goal. So he is really a complete package. And again, at this World Cup, he's proved himself. He played, unfortunately for him, just the first 4 matches, because he then later had an injury which also didn't let him play the knockouts game. But in his first 4 matches, he scored 3 goals and delivered 2 assist. He was really Switzerland's best player when he was on the pitch. We felt that Switzerland could really win you a game, and I think that's the type of player Johan Manzambi he can become the X factor for a team. This World Cup, I think, showed a glimpse of his potential, because again, one thing about Johan Manzambi is that he's not scared to show himself at the highest stage. This season, I discovered personally like him against Bayern, when I think he had the best performance of his season. Even though his team really lost, I thought that he was incredible. And even in the Europa League, in the biggest games, that's where he revealed himself. Go watch his performance in the final. Even if Freiburg loses again, I think he's easily Freiburg's best player. Maybe his performances in the Europa League wasn't enough to convince a top European team to pay, but the World Cup performances this just proved any European team that even had doubts that we're talking about a future top player. And the team that won the race is Aston Villa, and I really think it's also an excellent career choice, because again, he doesn't move to a team that's fighting to win the Champions League. He's moving to a team that plays the Champions League, that fights for Champions League places, that also gives time to young players to develop, and later in his career he can move to a top club if ever he fulfills his potential. That already shows an intelligence, that already gives me also signs of a young kid that will probably succeed in his career. That's why this video, I also called him the next Grealish. I really think he has the potential to be sold even more than what Aston Villa had for Grealish, and what potentially they'll have also for Morgan Rogers. Because again, Emery's track record is excellent with young players. He develops them, he gives them the time and the platform to excel. The latest example is Morgan Rogers, who could leave Aston Villa this summer to join Arsenal, but I really hope he stays one more season. I want to see midfield of Morgan Rogers and also Johan Manzambi, and also he fills exactly the tactical gap that Onana left in the team. Yes, he can play as a number 6, because I've seen matches of him at Freiburg where he played as a number 6, but I like him more in that of sort of number 8, even number 10 role. And with the injury of Onana, with the departure of Tielemans, there is a lure in that team to have, because again, I really hope Boubacar Kamara can be fit a whole season, can play that number 6 role with Vieira, and next to him he'll have a spot where he can just play, because Johan Manzambi will play naturally in that midfield of 2 alongside Boubacar Kamara. There will be maybe Morgan Rogers in that number 10 role. So I really think Aston Villa fans should be excited. I really like this transfer, because in a market where every decent player goes for 100 million, Aston Villa is still there to prove us that you can still make good deals. You can still buy 20-year-old who have a high ceiling for a decent price, because 60 million again for a player like Johan Manzambi will look like a bargain in few years. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. If there is Villa fans, if there is also fans that have seen him in this World Cup, I'm curious to hear what you think. Also, Newcastle fans, what is this transfer window you're having? There is a month left to this transfer window and it's already catastrophic. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Maybe a Newcastle rebuild is coming soon. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, make me know it by liking and subscribe for more football content, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.